I need to tell you something. That's how it started. A simple sentence, yet the hesitation in her voice told me everything I needed to know. Her hands fidgeted, her eyes darted away. Her lips parted as if the words physically hurt to say. And then, in the next breath, my entire world collapsed. She had been seeing someone else. Not a mistake. Not a one-time thing. It had been happening for months. I didn't yell. I didn't demand answers. Because in that moment I realized there was nothing left to say. So instead of arguing, instead of fighting for someone who had already betrayed me, I walked away. I left everything behind. The home we built, the memories we shared, the life we had. And I never looked back. But then, a year later, she found me. And this time, she was the one begging. The night she confessed, she expected a reaction. She was waiting for rage, for accusations, for desperate questions. But I gave her none of that. I simply stood up, grabbed my keys, and said one word. Okay. Then I walked out. No begging, no pleading, no desperate attempts to fix something that was already shattered beyond repair. I disappeared. For an entire year, I was gone. No calls, no messages, no looking back. I rebuilt myself from the ground up. A new city, a new job, a new life. I thought she was just a chapter in my past. But then, out of nowhere, she found me. And this time the regret in her eyes was something even she couldn't hide. At first, I'm sure she thought I would come crawling back. That I would miss her. That after a few weeks I'd cool off and forgive her. But weeks turned into months. And months turned into a full year. I never called. I never checked in. I never looked back. Meanwhile, her life wasn't as perfect as she thought it would be. The man she betrayed me for, he left her. The excitement of her new life, it faded. The home we built together, it felt empty without me. And for the first time, she started to understand what she had done. She thought she could replace me. But now she knew. She lost the only person who truly loved her. And that's when she decided she had to find me. It started with a simple message. A number I didn't recognize. We need to talk. I stared at the screen for a long moment. My chest tightened. I knew who it was. I had erased her number. But some things you don't forget. I could have ignored it. I could have blocked her. I could have continued living my new life. But curiosity got the better of me. So I replied. Just one word. Why? A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. I just need to see you, please. She didn't deserve a second of my time. She didn't deserve anything from me. But a part of me wanted to see the regret on her face. A part of me wanted to know what she had to say. So, against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. The cafe was quiet when I walked in. And there she was, sitting at a small table in the back, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee she hadn't touched. She looked different. Not the confident, carefree woman who once told me she needed something new. Number. Now, she looked exhausted. Her eyes were hollow, dark circles beneath them. Her shoulders slumped. She looked like someone who had spent the last year living with regret. When she saw me, her lips parted slightly, like she was trying to find the right words. I sat down across from her. Waiting. She swallowed hard, then whispered, "You look good." I smirked. I know. Her eyes flinched at my cold response. I needed to see you. Her voice was hesitant. I've thought about you every single day. I leaned back, arms crossed. Really? I raised an eyebrow. 'Cause when I walked out that door, I didn't think you gave me a second thought. She shook her head quickly, tears welled in her eyes. I made a mistake, she admitted, her voice shaking. I thought I wanted something else. I don't even know what I was thinking. But when you left, I realized I had thrown away the best thing in my life. She reached across the table, her fingers trembling. Please, she whispered. Just tell me there's a chance. And for the first time, I smiled. Because I finally knew. She was drowning in the regret she created. I let her sit there, waiting. Her eyes, so full of confidence, were now filled with something else. Desperation. She wanted me to say something. Anything. Something that would undo the past. But I had nothing left to give her. I finally leaned forward, resting my hands on the table. "You wanted freedom?" I said calmly. "You got it." Her breath hitched. She knew what was coming. "I know," she whispered, tears slipping down her face. But I didn't know what I was losing. I exhaled slowly, shaking my head. "That's the problem," I said. "You only realized my worth when I was gone. And now?" I paused, holding her gaze. "It's too late." Her face crumbled. She opened her mouth. To say something. To beg. To plead. To fight for me. But I was already standing up. I pulled out some cash, tossed it on the table, and met her gaze one last time. "Take care of yourself," I said simply. And then, just like I did a year ago, I walked away. But this time, she was the one left behind.